beautiful soul. I want to expand on something that we have been talking about regarding boundaries and family and how to help others that you love while maintaining appropriate boundaries. Let me back up and just reintroduce myself. My name is Chelsea. I'm an intuitive wellness coach and a former naturopathic doctor. I love helping people gain more insights to their bodies energetically and physically, and figuring out any blocks hidden in their field as information, energy, or physical clinical steps that they can take to really shift and expand their health and boost their intuition. So we've talked before about energetic boundaries, how I had breaks in those energetic boundaries through experiences, as well as literally opening up the door for others to basically come in and kind of take what they needed, which is not the way to do it. So we've talked about that aspect and that journey to strengthening your energetic boundaries previously. And obviously there's more layered information on the personal, because everything I do with clients is personalized. So I'm just speaking to the generalities of the process in these videos. I want to actually address a question that someone asked, which is really great, which is, once you've kind of got those boundaries set, what does your role then look like in providing support for what your family members are experiencing, how to help facilitate healing through your gifts in a way that is healthy and aligned? So there's a lot that we can unpack in that. And I will preface as well that a lot of this information that I will share likely came a lot from my own energy mentor, Tracy L. She really taught me a lot about how to actually help others without compromising your own boundaries. So it's something I continuously work on. My boundaries were absolutely terrible from enmeshed relationships from childhood onwards into my adulthood. But I'm really proud of where I am at this point and how much space I can hold for clients without taking things on, and how much in my personal life I've been able to shift and move without feeling the effects personally with myself, and allowing that boundary to remain really clean and clear, and then reassessing and kind of cleansing my field whenever I need to. So going back to the question, what that role kind of looks like. So again, I just want to reiterate that it's everyone's choice if they want to shift or change. So that's really the most pivotal thing. You'll hear a lot in the energy sphere that you need to ask permission to work with someone. And I do agree, on some level, you're asking for permission. I don't think you need to verbally ask permission. I do think you need to energetically respect whether they're willing to take it in or not. So what I would often do when I'm working distance with, how this often comes up is I have a client who has a challenging relationship and they're working on shifting that. So I can actually work through my client to help adjust and align the relationship. So for example, if I'm working with said client, I can work through their field to connect to that other person, and I may be able to sense, okay, they are having this response of avoidance or whatever because of this past experience they've had that taught them that that's how they need to operate. So what we can do is we can offer them a healing, and it's basically, how I see it is, usually it's coming from source, which if you're in Body Connection Blueprint, you have that information in module 6. But basically I often see this column of light coming from the top, like way up high to the top of the head. So sometimes I'll funnel the energy that way to the person, or more specifically, what I will see is we'll take that source energy and move it over into the field or the vicinity or the area of that other person connected to my client. And we'll kind of set that on the outside of the field as like a package of information. So we can say, okay, here's the healing experience of more love, more compassion. And again, this would be where I'm using techniques from Body Regeneration Method, which I was certified in by Tracy L. So it's basically like a distance energy work. And I see a lot of things visually. So I see that as like a package of information that the person who I'm working with via the client, it's their choice to take that in energetically or not. So oftentimes I'll get the sense of, okay, they're not willing to take that in, they're not ready. I'll either see them visually turn their backs, or they'll just be very kind of stoic, or just very strong in their stance. That signals to me that they're not willing to kind of work on this energetic plane even. And then we just leave that situation. So we focus more on the client and how the client experiences that situation, and get them strong to dealing with whatever kind of comes up with this relationship. What can happen often though is if I'm working with a client, often the person who is kind of connected through the client to me through the client, they do seem to have a sense of they're taking in that energy and that shift. And it amazes me still how often I will do a shift via the client to someone else, and that client tells me, oh, they came home and were in such a good mood, or, you know, they slept through the night, or there was no issues or no arguing today, or, you know, just interesting things that happen from the energetic, because we're not taught the power of the actual energy. And if you've been in the course Body Connection Blueprint, you know how much I talk about the energy coming first and then moving into the physical. So that's why working at the energetic level is like the root level often for most things. So again, back to the question specifically about what you can do to facilitate healing. That's one of the options. I find that you have to be a little more careful if you're the one connected to that member of the family that you're trying to assist. You really need to know where the boundaries are again. So that energetic permission. If you get any kind of pushback at all, you need to respect that and move away and not force anything on anybody. So that takes a lot of fine tuning. That's something more that we would talk about in my private community that I'm currently building. I might have had it launched by now by the time this video goes out, and if so, I'll have the information below. But I'm seeing this need for having more of these expanded discussions, so that would be where we would discuss that. Yes, and so facilitating healing through your gifts in a way that's healthy and aligned. Again, those are kind of the basics of how to do it. Anything else that's coming up in terms of the actual assistance via someone? So what can happen that you might want to be aware of is if you're reaching out energetically in any way, you want to really make sure that you're being as neutral as possible and aligning to highest good. So I've done an alignments video before, but essentially if you're saying, you know, oh, this person is having this situation where they can't sell a house, so I'm going to ask that their house sells. But really, it may be that in their highest best interest, it's to not sell the house. They just think it's to sell the house is the best thing. So if you're pushing energy towards the outcome that you think logically is the best one, it may actually be taking them off on a different path energetically. So we just always want to be mindful. So in that case, it would be, thank you, source, divine, God, the highest best, whatever word you want to use, for aligning my friend, family member, whatever, to their highest potential outcomes. And you can literally leave it at that. You can also add something like to increase their awareness to what is their highest best outcomes, and provide them the energy and whatever they require in order to fulfill that. Thank you. And you can leave it at that. That is one of the best ways to work. Again, though, although it sounds really great and supportive, there may be reasons why someone may not want to receive that. So you may get pushback energetically. You may also find on the physical that you get an email and someone seems irritated at you, or there's a little bit of chatter about you. Things like that can come up as an irritation because they've been triggered. And that's not for you to really, help them or process them through, or help them process through, unless they actually ask for it or energetically something shifts and changes. So again, those kind of feedback type mechanisms would be something we discuss inside the community. So again, I will have that information linked here. all about that. And otherwise, if you have any other expanded questions or things that you'd like to know about, I'd love to answer that in these videos here for you. So until next time, take care, be well. I'll see you later.